evening. Anytime we can gather together to hear a thought-provoking, dynamic, motivational speaker, it is a great evening. I am Dr. Donna H. Oliver, Provost and Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs at the Edward Waters University, the state of Florida's destination institution of emerging eminence. I am delighted on behalf of our dynamic president, A. Zachary Faison Jr., to welcome you to the second iteration of the Edward Waters University President's Distinguished Lecture Series for 2022-2023, featuring none other than the founder of the award-winning Tezlyn Figaro Communications Group, Ms. Tezlyn Figaro. I've just had the opportunity to chat briefly with Ms. Figaro, and she is more than enough. So you just get ready to sit back and relax and enjoy this dynamic leader for such a time as this. You will notice that the title of our lecture series is aptly preceded by the two words, "Stay Woke," which we believe is a timely colloquialism intended to evince a deliberate focus upon the continuous expansion and development of the overall knowledge base of Edward Waters University's entire academic community. The purpose of the series is also to provide a vehicle through which the Edward Waters University community can interface intentionally with culturally based issues and to promote socially conscious and socially responsible activism in a millennial and post-millennial era. Additionally, and equally as important, this series intends to create a platform for the entire EWU community to hear and engage with accomplished and distinctive speakers to provoke meaningful discussion, reflective and critical thinking, and provide enriching insight and illumination into the critical issues of our time. It is my hope that the full collection of distinguished speakers that will visit our academic community over the next few months and forthcoming years will allow the Edward Waters University community to indeed and invariably stay woke. Stay woke by engaging the views, ideas, and espoused ideals expressed by the national thought leaders, authors, entertainers, activists, advocates, and opinion shapers who will be featured in this illustrious series. We hope that each one of you tonight will leave here inspired, motivated, and or maybe even agitated to expand your personal footprint as a socially responsible leader and architect of positive change here in the greater Jacksonville community and beyond. Let us all get ready for an evening of highlighting what it means to be woke. Now I invite Mr. Amari Leith, Mr. Edward Waters University for 2022-2023, to introduce our speaker for the evening. Mr. Leith.
Tezlyn Figaro provides communication solutions, political consulting, crisis management, customized training for the most influential political, social, and cultural leaders in America. Ms. Figaro is a sought-after public speaker who whose prophetic and powerful message stirs the conscience and inspires listeners across demographics. She is the host of the Straight Shot No Chaser podcast on Charlemagne the God's Black Effect podcast network on iHeartRadio, the largest digital radio and music streaming service in America. In addition to hosting her weekly podcast, Ms. Figaro shares her independent, nonpartisan perspective as a political contributor on the Black News Channel, a 24-hour cable news channel viewed daily in over 55 million households. Ms. Figaro has also delivered witty, fact-based, sharp political analysis that eviscerates her opponent's talking points on behalf of the concerns of Black America on National Fox News and MSNBC. Ms. Figaro has featured in the Netflix documentary Civil as a senior public policy consultant for attorney Benjamin Crump, who was named Time Magazine's 100 World's Most Influential People in 2021. She has led public policy strategy for high-profile clients of the Ben Crump law firm. Ms. Figaro is also the founder of the award-winning Tezlyn Figaro Communications Group. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Ms. Tezlyn Figaro.
Let the church say, amen. Came to have some church this evening. I need y'all to loosen up. Get with me on this topic for a moment. I saw that I was in a sanctuary, so I said I might as well preach. Do y'all mind? All right, let me get my amen crowd. Greetings, Edwards Waters College family. This is such an honor and a pleasure. I am so grateful to have the opportunity extended to me by Dr. Hobbs. I want to say thank you to President Faison, SGA President Johnson, Chief Williams, and also for the beautiful introduction by Miss Oliver. Now, I'm like a bootleg preacher, so the more you say amen, the faster I'll go. So can I test it one more time? Amen? Amen. God is what? Good. All the He is. Thank you. I just wanted to see if I was home this evening. So I want to talk to you. Yeah, that's right. Let's get it going. We need to do a hymn. Do we need to get a hymn to get it popping? Okay. I know I've been changed. Y'all ready? Look. Hey, come on. But y'all, I'm glad to be here. Charlemagne calls me the hood whisperer. So I'll be speaking a little bit loud to you today to really just speak from my spirit. So just bear with me. I have to be honest, I really struggled with this topic. Normally my words flow like a river, but I found myself stuck. And the reason why I'm stuck is because what is happening in the movement space is we are in a place of being stuck, literally and figuratively stuck. I can't lie to you, family. I have to be honest and say that many of my colleagues that work in this space that you have brought down to Edwards Waters, Tamika Mallory, Killer Mike, Charlemagne, these are folks that we have conversations daily. And we are at a place, and I was talking to this about with Dr. Hobbs, we're at a place that is different this year than any other year before. We expect opposition around election time. We expect chaos. We expect confusion. But there's something very different that is happening in the atmosphere that is working its way through the movement like a cancer. Coming out of the George Floyd 2020 movement and watching us go to such a level, a high level of urgency, a high level of observation, a high level of wokeness, a high level of people paying attention that never paid attention before, a high level of lies by corporate America that said they backed us. Let me say it one more time. I said a high level of even lies from corporate America that said they backed us in our movement. And now we are seeing that being chastised and criticized and trying to be taken a part of in a very different way. And the morale is low, even with myself. I've always talked about push the line politics until something happens. And I started a training where we just brought 300 people from all over the country in Atlanta, Georgia, to train to be candidates and operatives and organizers in a nonpartisan way, because I had to do that for myself, because even myself, my morale has been taken down. I was talking to Dr. Hobbs before we started, and she said, tell me who's getting it right. And I said, it's hard for me to answer that question, because I'm at a place that I've seen too much in the last, not just the last decade, but in particularly the last 2 or 3 years, more than what I've wanted to see. And I don't want to offend anybody, but I'm a believer, so I'm going to talk to you. It looked like a church to me, so I might as well preach. I got to talk to you what my spirit says to me. And so I'm a believer, and I've been wrestling with, what do you want me to say to the students that hasn't been said before? What can I say in this moment that is so clear and so directly to your conscience, to prick your conscience, that speaks to you in a moment such as this? And so I want to talk to you for a moment. And as I know we're going to have some question and answers when I'm done setting up the narrative, but I want to talk to you a moment so that when we are going into the question and answer phase, you'll know where I'm coming from. The series is called Stay Woke. And the reason why I struggle with it is because I've seen the hashtag Stay Woke, Stay Woke, Stay Woke. I've heard the songs. I've heard the colloquialisms, if you will, of what that means. And I'm wondering, do we really understand what that means? And are we in a place that we are now stuck? I want to examine with you for a moment and challenge you for a moment on what stay woke really means. And it's not in a way to criticize the term, but I must challenge your thinking to go deeper than just the term. Webster Dictionary defines woke as aware and actively attentive to important facts and issues, especially of racial and social injustice. But I want to challenge you to move past being woke, because according to the definition, woke is only about being actively attentive. Being attentive is just an adjective to be mindful. It is not a verb. It is not action. Let me say it again, because maybe y'all didn't get it. Maybe y'all sleep right now as I talk, so let me speak to you. Being woke means just being mindful. It is an adjective. It is not action. And what I have seen in the movement is a lot of folks paying attention, being woke, so-called woke, but I haven't seen enough action. Now, I'm not talking to you guys. I'm talking to those who are at home, to those who are listening, to those in your space that you're constantly trying to motivate to get involved. We are missing the action of what it means to be woke. Plenty of folks pay attention. Pay means what? To settle the debt. So I stopped by to tell you just for a moment that in order for you to pay the debt, paying attention is not enough. Let me say it again. In order to pay the debt, to settle the debt, paying attention is not enough. And woke means literally in the dictionary, if you look up woke, it says to pay attention, to be mindful. But it is not enough for you to just pay attention. It is not enough for you to just log on. It is not enough to do what my brother, my son says and do tweet buys. I'm looking for somebody that's willing to get active. Do you think that being woke is enough to pay down the debt? Now, you might be saying, what do you mean when I say pay down the debt? I know y'all don't know this because y'all distinguished college folks, but in the hood, they say pour out a little liquor. Has anybody ever heard your cousin say they're going to pour out a little liquor for the homie? I know not y'all in the front because you got your beautiful sashes on and the distinguished, maybe you don't want Dr. Hobbs to know you know what it means, but there's something called pouring out a little liquor. And what that means is when someone passes away, they pour out a little liquor to say, this is how I'm paying homage to a loved one. And what I see being woke is, it's just putting a little bit on a big problem. And I'm going to wrap it all together. Just keep up with me. I want you to imagine, and I'm so glad this is this size of water. I wasn't expecting it to be this small, but I'm showing you, and that's not a diss. Y'all think I'm not dissing the small water. I'm saying it's a perfect example, a metaphor of where I'm about to take you. Imagine me taking this small water bottle and going out to the Atlantic Ocean and pouring this out in the Atlantic Ocean and saying, this is what I'm contributing. I'm pouring out just a little bit of liquor to pay homage to those who have passed on. Maybe you're confused. You haven't got it. I'm talking about the ancestors that are at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. If I were to take this to the Atlantic Ocean and say, this is what I'm going to pour on the movement, just a little bit. See, this is what being woke is. I need you to be active so that you can shake the bones at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean with some action. Maybe you didn't get it. They didn't get it. They didn't get it. Since I'm a believer, I was told that my cup will overflow with blessings. So when you saying I'm woke and you're not taking that to action, it's just the same as you pouring this small glass of water in the Atlantic Ocean. Woke is not enough. So my challenge to you is that we move past being woke. Woke is important. I'm woke. I'm woke. I'm woke. Stay woke. Hashtag woke, woke, woke. The question is, what do we do to move past being woke? And we need the kind of action that is not good enough to just have Lazarus open his eyes, but somebody has to tell Lazarus to stand up and rise and move forward. You didn't get that, so I'm going to help you get it just a little bit deeper. Lazarus was dead for 4 days, and it took somebody, a miracle, telling him to get up and rise. And according to Vox.com, the woke colloquialism started 4 years ago. They didn't get that. Let me say it again. Staying woke started 4 years ago. And the reason why I was stuck with my message on the word woke, because I know that we are still asleep. We are not opening up our eyes. We are not getting up. And I'm here to tell you 4 years later that somebody got to be Lazarus and rise. And that means by action. Not just by looking cute and being woke, and I'm woke and I see what's happening. Maybe you're not getting it. There is an anti-woke movement right now by white supremacy that is attacking the woke movement. And you are the future leaders that are being poured into to be able to pour what you have into the movement. And being woke with just this is not enough. I do believe, contrary to popular belief, and now I'm preaching to myself, I do believe that this generation is not dead. I do believe that the mission is not dead. I do believe that despite the war that's being waged on the woke movement is not dead. I believe that we will rise. I believe that even my generation will get it together. There's some missing leadership even in my generation that needs to understand what it means to lead, to be looked up to handle our maturity, and particularly online, even myself, to be better at leadership. I believe that even my elders will remove their ego and work with more leaders in my generation and your generation so that we can get this thing together. I believe that my child who's here sitting in the back, even though she don't want to be in the movement space, I believe that the seed that I'm planting in her will be watered and nurtured, and it's up to you to do it. Because I tell her all the time, I'm not going to live forever. I'm not going to be here forever. Tomorrow's not promised. So when I'm speaking to you so that you can pay it on and pass it on to her. I believe that faith without works is dead. I believe that we can no longer just pay attention by being woke, but we must pay down the debt that has been planted in you by your teachers, by your professors, by your students, by our ancestors. And I believe if we work hard enough to pay down the debt, that America will then pay down the debt that is owed to us. And what that means by that is, in case you're confused on that, there's a debt that is owed to us through slavery, sharecropping, redlining, Jim Crow, mass incarceration, school to prison pipeline, and so much more over the last 400 years. But if we are only pouring out just a little bit instead of our entire soul through action, then we are not moving forward. My desire is always to inspire, but it is also to prick your conscience, to ask, what are you doing? Besides just being woke. Anybody, if you were sleeping, it's time to get up for school and you woke, well, you woke. Well, what does that mean? If you're not getting out of the bed, if you're not moving, if you're not putting your clothes on, if you're not putting your combat boots on to get out and help fight what we are up against through spirit, principalities, and through movement, then being woke is the same as being dead. Y'all didn't get that. I said being woke is the same as being dead. And when you are operating in a spirit of action, I want you to know that you can expect the attacks. You can expect the blowback. You can expect to feel isolated. It's set up so you can feel by yourself. It's set up no matter who's sitting on the right or the left of you. You have something in you that's going to make you feel lonely and feel by yourself and feel that everything's against you and feel that nobody is out there fighting with you. That's what the enemy is designing it to do. So watching our brother T.I. yesterday, and I'm sure some of y'all saw. Can somebody nod and see what's going on? And remember, he made a post and said, I feel by myself. That's what the enemy is trying to do, to make you feel that you're by yourself when you're not. And if you don't get that, I don't like to sugarcoat stuff and play games. If you don't get that it is designed for you to feel isolated, it is designed for us to tear each other apart instead of locking arms. And understanding that you're not in this war by yourself. But there will be some times that you will have to stand solo dolo. Are you prepared to stand alone? What happens if the person next to you don't show up? What happens when the other people don't fill the room? Are you prepared to stand alone? The attacks are going to come. The isolation is going to come. It's coming on me now. It's coming on my colleagues now. We are even in a place where we want to give up. If I told you something different, I would be lying to you. The documentary that came out just yesterday about, and I'm not here to promote it, but I got to tell you, a lot of time we say, well, I don't want to talk about it because I don't want to bring light. No, let's talk about it so you can know what it is that we're fighting. Because keeping your head in the sand and pretending like it don't exist is cowardly. I'm an M60 gunner from the Air Force. I believe in hitting it straight on. The documentary on the greatest lie ever told, the George Floyd story, where we're looking at Kanye West, who said white lives matter last week, and Ray J standing together at a documentary that is absolutely promoting everything that we have been against, everything that we have been fighting for. But people are so caught up in the social media drama that you think it's about Kim Kardashian, for those that don't know. You think it's about Kanye. You think it's about Ray J. You didn't even pay attention that the documentary that they're standing against is basically saying that George Floyd deserved to die. Social media has the mindset so twisted and so confused that you're not even seeing that they are so caught up in themselves that they can't see they are a part of being something that is orchestrated, that says that their own black life does not matter. And you don't have to agree with Black Lives Matter, the organization. I have my concerns as well. But what I'm talking about is my black life. What I'm talking about is Ray J's black life. What I'm talking about is Kanye's black life. Because I think he learned this week that, oh yes, you too are black. Amen. Y'all don't want to say it? Am I the only one going to say it? I think he learned this week that you too are black. It's been so much that we've been wrestling on how do we continue to reach our youth? How do we show you that there's space in this for you? How do we become leaders? How can I be a better leader, a better example? And it's something I wrestle with every single day. Because behind social media and behind being on the ground for real and behind going on national TV and fighting my enemy, I also have to do internal fighting among each other. And that is where we lose our momentum. Because we are so caught up in our own personalities, our own ego, our own desire to be seen, that we don't even see what's being orchestrated around us is so much bigger than just one man and one woman. I am not a righteous person, meaning I don't do everything right, but I stand on righteousness. I am not a perfect person, but I am indeed a rider. I don't say everything the way I should say it, but I'm for sure say what needs to be said. This is where we are with things, family. I hope that as you continue, and I'm putting up my notes because now I'm just talking to you. I hope that as you continue this series, that you continue to hear from these speakers. I hope that they are also challenging you in a way to make you leave this place, like you said, agitated, inspired, and motivated, but also asking, what are you going to contribute to the game? That's what I call it, the game, the movement. What are you giving? What are you pouring of yourself? Are you giving your soul? Are you giving it all? I'm speaking to the front row because you are the leaders. And what does that mean, to lead? To be cute? To have your name on programs? Or does it mean more than that? Are you organizing outside of this HBCU? Are you talking to the hood? Are you going beyond those that had access, those that did not have access to the education that you're being afforded? Are you meeting them where they are? Are you looking for Lazarus? Or are you only talking among yourself with your echo chambers? Are you only preaching to yourself, to your own crowd, to your own sororities, to your own fraternities, to your own group? That is not what God told me to tell you today. Get outside of yourself and go wake up Lazarus. It's been 4 years. We've been talking about being woke for 4 years. Lazarus was dead for 4 days. If somebody don't know they woke now, then they ain't never getting up. Let me say it one more time in case y'all didn't get it, and I'm going to close and get some questions. If somebody don't know they woke by now, they ain't getting up. I know a lot of speakers will tell you everybody different. I'm not Harriet Tubman. I'm not one of the ones, mother, that's going to say, I wish I could have freed a lot more. Not me. I'm honking the horn one time. You either coming or you're not. Amen. And I mean, I'm honking it one time. Maybe it's just me. My grandmother was a bus driver. She drove the bus. After she drove the bus, she was the cafeteria lady. That was back when you had 2 and 3 jobs. I don't know if y'all had a grandma like I did. I need somebody to wake up in here this evening. I know that. I'm going to keep going the longer. If the less amens, y'all better start amening so I can wrap up. I'm going to get some amens out of y'all before it's said and done. Better start raising some hands or doing something. I'll be up here all night holding y'all up now. Amen. My grandmother drove the bus, and she told me, you better make sure you on this bus stop when I come around this corner. Now, y'all from a different generation. I know because I spoiled my baby. If I told her to be on the bus stop, literally her bus stop is in front of our house, like literally. And she still think I'm supposed to take her to school. Because it's a different generation. They got access to stuff we didn't do. And that's fine. I love doing it. I believe in breaking generational curses. I want things to be better for her than what they were for me. But I was raised by my grandmother that told me I better be on that bus stop on time. And she said, when I come around this corner and you're not on that bus stop, you're going to be walking to school. And grandma meant that. And you always got to test grandma to see if it's real. And she made a believer out of me. I had to walk to school because the point was to be ready when I come around this corner. See, my grandmother believed in the rapture. She believed that it's going to come a time that you're going to have to be ready. And the trumpet going to be blown one time. Freedom is coming one time. We ain't doing no double backing around. See, y'all so used to double backing around. I'm here to tell you, sometimes you got to be ready the first time. Some of these speakers tell y'all, oh, no, let's come back and get them. Not Auntie Tez honking the horn one time. I'm not Harriet. This is 2022. If you don't know you want freedom in 2022, then you must want no freedom. Y'all need to stop, get out the mindset of quoting what a slave said. I wish I could have freed him. Wasn't that back in 18? Y'all call us. What year was it when Harriet said that? 18 what? 17? I don't know the year. But we know it was a long time ago, don't we? So here y'all quoting what a slave said. Do y'all get that? They don't get it. They think they be saying something, brother, online. If they was free, I could have freed. That's what a slave said. We in 2000, and shout out to Harriet Tubman. We love Harriet Tubman. But I'm trying to get y'all to understand where y'all mindset at. You getting this, sis? I'm talking, y'all love getting when I get at least one amen. You're up here quoting, I wish I could have freed more. If only they knew they was free. No. In 2022, if you don't know you free in 2022, the bus ain't coming back to pick you up. The reason why I say this is because I need you to move with some urgency to the bus stop. The reason why I say this is because I need you to get ready on time. The reason I say that is because I need you to be early, not late. That's what leadership does. If y'all didn't get that, then go look up the story of Moses. Maybe y'all got time to talk to people for 40 years in the wilderness and end up missing the promised land because you steady talking to everybody else instead of being the new generation of Joshua that say they going on over. Maybe they didn't get it. They didn't get it, mama. I know I got some elders in the house that understand about the new generation of Joshua. See, y'all wasting y'all time talking to those that don't want to be free. You remember when Martin Luther King said, I'm not going to get there with you? I'm going. I wish I would sit up here and go and think I'm going to help you and I ain't going. Oh, no, I'm going. Somebody going to get left and it ain't going to be me. Moses stayed in the wilderness for 40 years talking to the same people that he freed. The Lord kept telling them, stop trying to prove who I am. If they didn't see it through the 10 different things that I did to Pharaoh, then they don't want to be free. But he kept on saying, well, here go the water. Here go the manna. The Lord said, don't hit the rock. I've already showed them who I am. And here you foolish enough to keep hitting the rock. And because Moses was not obedient, he had to watch everybody else go over. Y'all better get some obedience in your life and go on over to the promised land. I know they tell you to go back and get them. Go back and get them. One time, though. One time. Somebody say one time. We ain't coming back around the second time because what happens is you're going to get lost. What happens is you're going to lose. You're not going to make it over. You won't see glory because you are busy spending time arguing with those that were destined to be slaves. Let me give it to you another way and I'm going to shut up. Y'all know when the ministers say they're going to shut up, they go about another 10 more minutes. Just bear with me. But I got to get, these babies got to get it. Did y'all see the Titanic? Let me give it to them this way. Maybe they didn't get the Moses and the Joshua. Let me give it to you this way. Y'all remember, raise your hand if you saw the Titanic. My students, okay. And my elders too. I love it that we got both generations. You remember when Jack got on the boat? Remember Jack didn't have no business on the boat. Y'all, I know y'all getting it because I heard my Lord, my Lord. I'm getting ready to preach this thing on up. Jack never was supposed to be on the boat. And here it is. What was her name? Rose. Thank you. I like a talking church. Here it is. Rose got so caught up behind Jack. There ain't nothing wrong with meeting a little Jack. I'm about to go there. I'm the only one that met a Jack in my life. They ain't going to admit it, but I met a Jack. Ain't nothing like a little Jack. Look at my distinguished students. They don't want you to know, Dr. Hobbs. I'm going to go ahead and tell it. Ain't nothing wrong with meeting a little Jack. Jack put something on Rose, excuse me, that Rose ain't never seen before. Ain't nothing wrong with it. I done met a Jack. Had me doing poetry. All on the stage. Can I tell y'all the truth or y'all want me to? I'm the only one met a Jack? Oh, okay then. Girl, I was doing poetry on the stage. I called my mama. Mama, I ain't never seen nothing like it. I almost, and I mean almost, ordered that brother a basket, a fruit basket. He was a barber. Wanted to make sure he had protein to get through the day, mama. They don't want to admit it, but I'm admit it. I called my girlfriend. Girl, I think I should send him something. Do you think it? I ain't never bought a man nothing in my life, but boy, that Jack make you buy. That Jack, if you meet you a Jack, now the devil is a lie. Y'all can sit up here and play cute if you want to. Girl, I was on 1-800-Flowers. I almost hit the send button. I needed to know that the brother had protein to get through the day. I didn't want him weak on the job, mama. They don't want to admit it, but I'm going to go on and admit it. I'm testifying in the church. I was doing all type of poetry, all on the stage. I had to testify. So I know what a Jack is. They don't want to admit it. That's all right. I'll tell the story for you. Don't worry about it. Girl, I really was on the stage doing poetry now, Dr. Hobbs. Ain't that sad? So I know, I know what a Jack could do to your spirit. So Jack, my sister in the back, Jack was a Jack and got all up in Rose's spirit and soul to the point that Rose forgot what her destiny was. Work with me here. I'm going to wrap it all together. When it was time, when the ship began to sink, her lifeboat was prepared for her. I think the word says what? He will prepare a what? Before my enemies. A table was prepared for Rose. A place was prepared for Rose. But she got so caught up in the Jack. Just work with me here. The Jack is the principalities in your life. The Jacks are the nouns in your life. Person, places, and things distracting you. Rose got so caught up in the Jack in her life that she couldn't understand that the place was already prepared for her. So here it is. She was in the lifeboat and got out the lifeboat. See, that's what y'all doing when y'all leading and you're going back and getting them, and then you were already on to freedom. They were already freed from Pharaoh. Bear with me. I do metaphors for real. Y'all got to keep up. I'm trying to tie it all together. She was already going over to America, the promised land. So then she gets out the boat, climbs up the rope to go back to an area that God already took her from. And we find ourselves guilty with that. We call it survivor's syndrome. We feel we got to go back and get everybody. That's why y'all be always quote, if I was Harriet Tubman, I could have free. We gonna free who we gonna free, and whoever gonna be left. Because we are at a pivotal time where you cannot use your talents and your gifts on distractions. Know the difference between educating someone and motivating someone and it being a Jack who was already destined to drown. Everybody ain't gonna go. Everybody ain't gonna make it. You're the new generation. So then she climbs up the rope, goes down to the belly of the ship in a heavy dress, climbing and pushing. Now, we know that wouldn't have happened in real life for real. Climbing and pushing through the water to get to something that was already destined to die. You're chasing things in your life that you should have left behind. You're chasing people in your life that you should have left behind. Remember in the movie when Jack said, I'm just glad to be sitting at the table with you fine people. Y'all remember that? He had already saw his highest point. He was comfortable with what he was given at that moment. He knew that I wasn't supposed to be here in the first place. He knew that if he died right then and there, he had already done what he was called to do. But you, Rose, you went and looking for somebody that was satisfied with their mission. Everybody's mission ain't the same. And I know I'm talking to somebody in here. So you go down and you risk your life to get Jack. And you bring Jack up in the ocean. And you sit on a raft, on a table, whatever it was. And almost lose your life behind somebody that had already completed their mission. And the reality of it is, if that had been real life, because we know that was fiction, Rose would have died. That's just the reality. You can't possibly believe that she would have been the only one when the sharks was eating up everybody else. When the freeze was freezing everybody else. Don't you be a fool and think you can afford to take that type of risk. You would have died right along with Jack. Be careful who you go back and get. Be careful in understanding your assignment. Understand your assignment ain't everybody else's. You better be in that lifeboat and say, hey, Jack, you coming? Oh, okay, then, cool. You better be the man that was in the other boat that said, if you don't shut your mouth, we putting you out. Do y'all remember that part? When she kept saying, let's go back and get him. He said, no, because they'll sink us all. This is where we are at a place in the movement. They're trying to sink us all, mother. They're trying to get you all. My child, you, our elders, they're trying to sink us all. Who among you will move forward to the promised land? Being woke is not enough. And I wasn't even planning on talking about the Titanic, but didn't I say at the beginning about the Atlantic Ocean? You better start pouring something in the game that's going to make our ancestors' bones tremble. You better start putting something in the ocean that will wake up the chains of our ancestors. And in order to do that, you need to focus on your mission, your cause. Don't be distracted by the jacks. All jacks ain't going to wake up. All jacks ain't coming. All jacks are not meant to be free. Ask him once, maybe twice or 3 times. But when it's time to honk the horn, you better be found ready. I'll say this and I'll close. A lot of times online, they like to say the greatest of all times. Willie D said, Tez, you one of the greatest of all times in commentary, which was an honor because Willie D and Scarface are icons in our hip hop culture. But I always, when somebody tell me you the GOAT, you the GOAT, you know, y'all love saying GOAT, 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 GOAT. There's going to become a time where the GOAT won't mean anything at all. You may have heard where they'll divide the wheat from the tare. The New International Version said they're dividing the goats from the sheep. When people tell me I want to get involved, I sent you a DM, I didn't get nothing back. Can I tell you there's going to be a time where the goat will be divided from the sheep? I didn't make this up. This is what the word said. The goat will be divided from the sheep. And the sheep is not those who go along to get along. The sheep are not those who are quiet and say nothing. The sheep are those who are about the Father's business, the shepherd's business, the least of these. When I was hungry, did you feed me? When I didn't have clothes, did you give me clothes? When I was in prison, did you see me? That is the shepherd's business. And there will become a time where you'll be divided. So although you may aspire to be a goat on earth, there's a time where the sheeps will matter. And if you're not a religious person or a believer, then don't worry about it. If I'm wrong, then I guess we don't have nothing to worry about. That's that. But what if I'm right, Dr. Hobbs? Just imagine if I'm right. What will be your answer when the question is asked? Have you been about the shepherd's business? Your answer of saying, I sent the DM, Tez never got back to. The answer is, what did you do to be about the shepherd's business? Don't worry about being the GOAT. Worry about the shepherd's business. Tend to his flock. Be the leaders that you have been destined to be. But do not waste time talking to a wolf in sheep's clothing. Ooh, that was a bar. Let's say that one more time. Do not waste time talking to a wolf in sheep's clothing. So I'll end with that. Thank you. Thank you. My apologies for going over time.
No apology.
Thank you.
Test. All right. Thank you so much. No apologies necessary. We needed all of that. Agreed?
Thank you. Thank you.
Ms. Figaro, thank you so much for being here and for delivering that word. For those of you who I have not met yet, my name is Dr. Tamika Hobbs. I have the privilege of serving as the executive director of the A. Philip Randolph Institute for Law, Race, Social Justice, and Economic Policy. And we are so very glad to present this series, but most especially this very timely word that you've heard tonight. It is my role to invite those of you who have questions for Ms. Figaro to come forward. There's a microphone on this end. I will be returning to this corner. You can more than welcome to walk up the aisles to engage. And I'm going to follow the model that has been set. Thank you for calling out very clearly the implied intention of this program, which is to give our student leaders an opportunity not only to hear from you, but to demonstrate another part of leadership, which is speaking up, speaking out, digging in, and really taking advantage of the great mind that you have in front of you. So I want to hear from you. I want to know what questions you have for our speaker tonight. She is not only someone who has been in contact and had a huge audience, she's been, rubs elbows with the stars, Charlemagne the God, Killer Mike, Puffy, but Diddy, you just put on a conference with him up in with Revolt. So there are all types of things she's done. For those of you who are communications majors, she's founded an award-winning company. What about her journey do you need to know that can help you at the point where you are in your education? So with that, let's get going.
I tell people I've always talked all through school, as you probably can tell. Every teacher would say, great student who talks too much. I grew up, my mother was a news director assistant at Channel 4, so I grew up around television all the time. You know, I was around the first black woman who was first anchor in Oklahoma City. She was the first weekend anchor. So I was always around television. I always knew I wanted to combine the law and television. But I couldn't find my voice. I knew it, very similar to like Oprah when she talks about she wanted to be a reporter, but she knew she couldn't give her opinion. And so I too went through that journey like, wow, it'd be great to be a reporter, but how do I be a reporter without telling the truth? Like, this is a bunch of mess, y'all. Y'all really need to be, so I struggle with that like most people that kind of get into the commentary space. But it was never I went to school to become this or become that. It really is my calling. And I tell people in my training, it's okay for some people to have a career, to say, I want to, be in politics. I want to take political science. I want to do all of the theory, behind understanding politics. But for me, it really was a calling. Experiencing the things that I experienced in my life, the friends that I saw endure a lot of the issues that I advocate for today. That is what inspires me. It wasn't something that, I sought out to be, other than the legal side of things, going to law school and getting in the legal side. But I've just always been an advocate for people. I've always fought the bullies for my friends. I've always been the one. I've never had fights over me. It was always somebody else. I was always putting my 2 cents in. And then it just evolved, it just evolved. And I just started to study more and really realize, how to use my voice, as best I could. And just kept doing what I was doing, kept falling, getting up. I've had a staffing firm in Orlando, Florida. I had 300 employees. I was on the HR side for a while. I won Orlando Business Journal twice. But the reason why I was able to staff and get so many people to come to work overnight was really because of my voice. They believed in what I said. They believed that I said I was going to do what I was going to do. And that is the leadership that you see even on the political side. Hope I answered your question.
Yes, ma'am, you did. Thank you. And the second question I have is, since you said woke isn't enough, how would you encourage someone who is quote unquote woke to actually begin to be active?
Yeah. And I want to be clear, because I don't want to minimize the theme of being woke. It is important to be woke. First thing before you get up to go to school in the morning, first you got to wake up, so woke, we got that part down. But the next thing is, what do you do next? I would be preaching to the choir with you guys, because you're active. So that message is really for those who are watching at home, those that you're trying to encourage that are not active. Being active is one, seeking the information, what you're doing, and then really delving into yourself, not necessarily what an advisor would tell you to do or somebody else would tell you to do, really saying, what motivates me to be in this space? For me, mass incarceration was a huge motivation of mine because I grew up in the 90s and I watched an entire generation, get wiped out, friends of mine. So I felt they didn't have a voice. I felt somebody needed to say something. I felt genuinely concerned about not having that story told. I feel genuine about healthcare reform. Both of my parents are deceased. Both of them refused to go to the hospital and ended up dying at home. Literally, my mother said, I don't want to go to the hospital. It's just going to be a bill. Her lung collapsed. Literally, my dad said, don't worry about it. I'm going home in the morning, and had another seizure and died. I lost both of my parents as a result of not wanting to incur a hospital bill. So you have to tap into what motivates you, because reading it in political theory, I believe in education. I have 2 degrees. I have a master's in adult education, working on my 3rd degree. That is not what is going to keep you in this game. It is going to have to be something in your spirit, in your soul, that says, I must continue to open my mouth even when nobody's listening. I must continue to push politics until something happens. I must speak up when they attack me, when they criticize me, when they try to tear me down, because this movement will break you. It really will, if you're going to be a voice. But voices need support systems too. You need admin people. You need operations people. You need publicists. You need communication folks who are writing things. Don't minimize what you have to contribute. Know what it is to contribute, and then get in that space. And so if it can't be you, then build somebody else up. Your tool is necessary. I tell trolls, if you spend all day trolling, let's get you trained up to be a digital content manager. Because most of these campaigns that you see on the political side are not ran by us. The no vote ad that I challenged, and for those of you that follow me, that ad last week, that was pathetic. I love Trina. She the baddest, always will be. But when those are the type of advertisement that they think, well, that's, you meet them where they are. We're not in the gutter. That's not where we are. When people tell me that's where the young folks is at, I see young folks here now. So the devil is a lie. All young folks are not following that type of mess. So they need your leadership. There's a place for ratchetness. I got a whole ratchet playlist, literally titled Ratchet Playlist for the gym. But that is not what I listen to when it's talking about how to organize and how to get people to vote and how to get people to be a part of the process. I don't have to tap into that to talk to you. I can talk to you just like this. I educate people in the prison system. I go to an area where society is totally written off, and they want to be talked to like men and like women and with decency. So you have to really just tap into what's going to keep you raising your hand. And nobody can tell you that. It has to come with you. You have time to grow. You got more experiences, more disappointments, more victories. What you might be passionate about now may not be what you're passionate about in 5 and 10 years. So allow yourself growth and time to change.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Greetings. I am Chauncey Whaley, a senior communication scholar here at Edward Waters University, and I humbly serve as the Chief of Staff for the Student Government Association. First, thank you for pouring into us tonight. And second, I would like to say, as we say in the church, you are a preacher's preacher. My question for you is, and I am eager to be an activist in my community as I leave here at Edward Waters University, how do you stay mentally engaged with the day-to-day activities and the things that you hear, that you stay mentally in the game, knowing that you will produce leaders like us for the future?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, it's really, really tough. Accepting invitations like this, where some people may think it's an opportunity to be on a platform, not for me. Like, for me, it really motivates me for real. I really am preaching to myself. I wasn't just talking to y'all. I was really selfishly talking to myself. Having a internal circle really matters. I have my best friend, she's texting me, she's watching right now. I've been blessed to have the same 2 best friends since 10 years old, but they're not in the political space. So I don't bring my politics over to them. So I have my personal friends that know me, and then I have allies in the movement that we just encourage each other. We workshop things with each other. We're able to have private, everything ain't for the gram. Correct. Everything's not for Twitter. Y'all talk too much online. Amen? Everybody know who you're dating, who you're with, where you at. I'm here, I'm there, I'm eating this, and I do my fair share of tweets too. And I definitely do my fair share of posts. But you have to have an inner circle that you really, really trust. And it's not going to be a big circle. It doesn't need to be. We workshop out stuff all the time. We have a group text that we just really flush out stuff. Because a lot of us are in positions. I'm probably one of the ones that has the people in my group text have platforms way larger than mine. But we flush out things. We challenge each other. We debate. We go back and forth, and really try to get some understanding so that we don't go on the radio or television or posting something looking like a fool. So having a system around you that can check you, where you can say, am I moving an ego? I'll give you a perfect example. I'm probably going to get in trouble saying this. One of my friends, he was organizing with Jeezy last week with Our Black Party. And I wanted to say something petty to him about, because he said, I can call on Jeezy for anything. And I was like, well, Wes, I was getting ready to type him a petty message and say, you should have asked Jeezy to help us with the training. But I realized I was coming from a place of pain because I'm still not over Jeezy not marrying me. So I had to say, this is a place of pain that I'm speaking from. I'm telling y'all the truth. But it's a joke. But you have to, always know, what you're operating in. Are you, where is this pain coming from? Understanding your trauma. Understanding, especially those of us in the commentary space, because I wasn't always like this. I get out and I jump on something, and really I'm speaking from something I haven't healed from, something I still need to work on, something that I haven't flushed out, and I'm allowing that to overpower my commentary, and you can tell. So having that's the best advice, having a group around you that can check you. I tell people all the time, it's not that don't nobody check you. I just don't listen to comment consultants. Because comment consultants, people just get to make up whoever they are online. They get to pick a picture. They get to say, you'll notice if you argue with them, well, you don't know, you're not an attorney. I am too an attorney. I make X amount a year. How we know, brother? We don't know nothing. Literally, these virtual spaces they're literally virtual worlds that are make-believe. So getting caught up in what people are saying on social media, I get guilty of that too. You have to really surround yourself with thought leaders at the table that have the receipts to back up what advice they're giving you. Even if you disagree, the receipts matter. And I'm speaking to y'all because, again, you're in the generation. I come from the X-lineal generation. They call it X-lineal. Generation X, I always kind of have a problem being put in Generation X to me because Generation X is over a 20-year period. And that's a big difference. So X-lineals are about from late 30s to 45, 46, or 45, which is it's called X-lineal because it's half of millennial and half of Generation X. And what that means is the internet came out when I was in middle school. So my formative years were still a part of the digital world, where a lot of people who are true Generation X are people in their mid-50s. But I always roll with the big homies older than me. So I learned a lot of game from them. But they didn't grow up in their formative years. When I say formative, I'm talking about, middle school and high school. They didn't have the internet. They didn't have technology. So X-lineals, where I fall, have a little bit of both. And so my generation is struggling with, how do we do this? People just get to say whatever on the internet and don't have to back it up? Because we looked up to an older generation where you kind of had to walk it like you talk it. Couldn't just make it up as you go on the internet. So we're struggling, with how do we have that balance? And then you guys in millennial, that's all you guys have known is digital and digital currency and digital capital and all those things. So for me, and I'll shut up because I've answered it now 2 or 3 times, but I can't stress enough, have an inner circle of 2 or 3 or 4, nothing bigger, of people that you really trust to say, am I speaking from ego? Am I speaking from pride? Do I need to get checked on this? Am I looking at everything? And then I read everything. You guys got to stay out your echo chambers. I was criticized for a very long time for going on Fox News, fighting for black people harder than most could ever. You have to be able to go in different space. Anybody can preach to a choir. Who gonna go to the enemy though and talk that talk? So being able to have different conversations and disagreements and things like that, that's what works for me.
Thank you so very much.
You're welcome. That was a long answer. I'll do better and make shorter answers because I know our time is. Thank you. Yeah, I need that amen to help me wrap up.
How you doing, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
My name is Patricia Johnson. I currently serve as the Student Government Association student body president here. And I got 2 questions. I'll keep it brief though, because I know people might be kind of antsy to go. My first comment is, I think it'd be crazy if I didn't ask, since we sitting in a room full of scholars. Do you offer any internships?
I don't, unfortunately. I'll just run a small business. It's just literally just me. I may have a project manager every now and then. I wish I could. I hope to get to a place that I can. But I run my own business. No loans, no grants. It's a for-profit. And one of the realities of having a Black-owned small business is no land, no loans, no grants, not opportunities to pay people. So it's all hustle with me. And I struggle with, I do not allow, I don't like people working without getting paid. It's very important to me. I started in Orlando, Florida with 300 volunteers. I got 300 volunteers in 3 weeks, and all the politicians were saying, oh, you could get volunteers. That's why they love me in Orlando. Oh, she can get volunteers. And they tried to convince me to do a nonprofit and do volunteers, and I said, no, in 3 years or less, these people will be working. And I wrote down that vision. And in 3 years or less, on 10/10/2010, October 10th, 2010, 10 means see those enemies no more. That's why Pharaoh had 10 different plagues. 10 people started at the Amway Center on my payroll. So, amen. Did y'all not hear that testimony I just told you? I said on 10/10/2010, 10 people started at the Amway Center. And that was without a loan, without a grant. So I'm saying all that to say, sis, I wish I did. I hope to be at a place where I can. But for my work now, it really is just doing what I can to train people so that you can be an intern for somebody else. I encourage everybody to hashtag push the line, all one word, not hashtag, text to 66866, push the line, all one word. And I do free training to teach you how to be a candidate or an operative or an organizer around anything. It could be I want to organize to get a new park, or I want to organize on an issue. It's a nonpartisan, it's no agenda. We just did 300 people in Atlanta. I'm doing a free training on October 22nd. So my internship to you, or what I have to you to learn, is that free training. I'm trying to do as much as I can on those on next year. So I encourage you to attend that.
I appreciate it. When do y'all get that? Okay, appreciate you. All right.
What'd you say? What did she say? The number again?
I was just trying to see if they wrote it down.
Yeah, 66866. 66866. Push the line, like PUSH, the THE line, LINE, all one word. And you'll get the webinar to come to. It's 5 different, push the line is 5 different core sessions: campaign roles and responsibilities, campaign compliance, campaign management, campaign planning, and community coalition building. And it's designed for candidates, operatives, and organizers. It's nonpartisan. It's very similar to what you got here. I do jokes and fun, and it's not dry, but you're actually getting the real, actual training. Panels are good, speaking is good, summits are good, but training is better. And so this is a training program to really help you get the tools you need.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. My last question is, how can people like in our generation truly help our peers to be active if they don't even know they still asleep?
Right. She didn't hear the message I gave her? Let me reiterate it to you. We're going to honk the horn one time and maybe twice. And I mean this. I'm not saying to not spend time encouraging others. I want to be clear. I'm not saying don't motivate others. I'm not saying, don't spend time encouraging others. But what I'm saying is be very careful between understanding distractions, because sometimes things are put in your life to distract you. I'm getting texts now that are distracting. And it can come from either people that you love. I like what you said, but I don't like this. Somebody in my life just texted me that. I like what you said, but this. I told him, if you didn't need to tell me the but. All you do is say you like what I said or don't text at all. Yeah, I'm calling you out. I know you're still watching. And I love them to death. But see, that's how principalities are used to distract. You see what I'm saying? It's important. Love who you love. Bring on who you bring on. But do not allow them to distract you from your mission. Sometimes they don't even know when they're being used as an enemy's tool. So you can't spend time trying to bring somebody over that don't want to get over. And that's the main thing. It's that survivor's remorse. We feel we got to keep going back. Go, especially if you come from an area where you know you wasn't supposed to make it. Especially if you come from an area where you know you wasn't supposed to be alive. One of my poems that I do, for those that don't know, I'm a spoken word artist. One of my poems when I say they should have killed me when you had the chance. So now they nervous because they know I'm taking them to the promised land. Write down my vision like Jesus did in the sand with spit. I make enemies ill real sick. Perform exorcisms, shaking fits. Forget 5-star. I'm a 9-planet universal chick. When you saying that, 9-planet means I'm a life path 9. Go look it up. Universal. Talk to every walk of life. You got to know how to battle these principalities. One of my best friends in my life took the time to text. Right now, I like what you said, but I don't like your braids. He didn't think I was going to call, hey, love. So you got to be able to speak to that. You can still love. I don't like the braids either. I'm getting them taken out on Saturday. That ain't the point. Did you not hear what I said? Did you not hear the message? Do you understand it's going to come through this right here closest to you? You better know what you're walking in your spirit. And understand, I love you, baby, but don't worry about these braids. You should have been listening to what I've been telling you for the last 15 years. And I'm going to show y'all the text at the end so you know I ain't lying. See, I know how to speak to the principalities. And first of all, I'm looking good. Let's first of all. We better get some understanding on this. So let's first of all, amen. Double cheeked up on a Thursday. That's a saying they got, Mom. I'm sorry, but I had to let the brothers know.
Tyler,
It's a saying called double cheeked up on a Thursday. And today is Thursday. And I'm double cheeked up. So don't worry about, I knew, see, that's why they call me the hood whisperer. Mom, I'm sorry. My apologies. My apology. So don't worry about these braids. This is what I'm trying to tell you. Don't worry about, they going to come through. Didn't I say the nouns, person, place, or thing? This is somebody, my very best friend, who I went to see when he was in prison. And you talking about my braids? Brother, you better tell somebody how I was putting that commissary on the books. You better tell somebody how I was getting patted down to come see you. You better tell somebody on the mountaintop what I've been to you. And you talking about braids? Do y'all see? They try to get in your head. Y'all done picked up that metaphor, did you? They try to get in your head. Literally, like a lace front. But you got to pull that thing back and say, don't worry about these braids. From bald head to braid, I'm still the coldest. Don't worry about that. From bald head to braid, I still mold them. Oh, see, I'm about to start wrapping up in there. I'm sorry, I done got carried away. I just had to speak to that because I want you to know it happens in real time. You see what I'm saying? So don't worry about it, sister. They coming, they not. Lock up with the people in your tribe. And y'all congregate and you lock in and you free who you can and who you can't. That's it. I know he's going to text me in a minute and say, I know you talking to me, but we just had to use him for an example, amen? Because I came to preach to y'all. And see, it was meant for him to do this so I could tell you that story. See, the Lord knew she was going to ask that question. That's why he ordained it for him to say this so I could tell the story. See, I'm never ashamed to tell the story. It don't bother me. You may not want to admit you know no jacks. I'll admit it. Don't worry about it. I'll admit it. These are the things that you have to be okay with your authenticity to tell the story. Stop being ashamed. You know you got people in your life that shouldn't be in your life that you still dragging around. Let them go. Or at least, if you're going to keep them around, let them know where you stand. You speak to those enemies. And you let them know you can't use me and take me off my square. But hey, honey, I see you. I'm going to show y'all the text at the end because I want y'all to know how real it was. For real.
Good evening.
Y'all say this woman crazy.
Good evening. I am Jakaya Williams, a psychology scholar from Albany, Georgia, and I serve as sophomore class vice president and senator pro tem. And my question is to you, since Kanye West was seen in his White Lives Matter t-shirt and a day or two ago he was kicked out of Chase's bank. Do you think that was from a political standpoint or a business standpoint?
Yeah, it was both. Politics is business, and business is politics. And there's some communities that ain't gonna allow you to play with their name. I look forward to when the black community starts shutting stuff down. It didn't take, amen, it didn't take no march. It didn't take no protest. All it meant was talking greasy. They gonna show you better than they can tell you. So it's business and politics, because politics is business. And when people say, I don't do politics, well, politics gonna do you. So it's one thing to play. You can play with the black community by wearing White Lives Matter, but there's some communities that ain't gonna play with you. And Kanye is getting a chance. Jay-Z called it, I ain't OJ. Y'all better go listen to that. Baby, OJ learned. Y'all know y'all too young for that, but you better go look it up. Everybody got an opportunity to realize you ain't OJ, brother. You get to talking greasy about some of these communities, they're gonna show you better than they can tell you. And I look forward to the day that the black community rise like that, where we're able to say, hold up, not over here, not to this one. And we still got some growth that we have to do with that, so it's both.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Kiera. How are you, Tez? Thank you so much for coming tonight. My question to you is, I aspire to run for property appraisal or city council, and I wanted to know, what advice would you give?
Come to my training. It's like that's so much that and anybody to give you a 2-minute answer, they're not trying to really plan in you. Text Push a Line to come to my training. First one's on October 22nd. I do them in person and online. All of them will be offered either or. So if you can't come in person, if I'm not doing it in your city, then you can come online. It really gives you an opportunity to really get the meat. I've been to most of the trainings you can think of. In 2010, I went to Congressional Black Caucus Boot Camp. I've been to the White House Project. I've been to Go Run Lead. I've been to Emily's List, Roof List, Yale Campaign for School of Women. I've been to, I was a trainer at PCCC, that's Progressive Caucus with Senator Warren. I did a crisis comm training. I've been to a lot over the last 12 years, and I have yet to see one that really gives it to you the way I'm giving it to you and speak to you in a way that's the truth. You know, no diss to everybody else, but my training is very different. One is dealing with all 3 tracks at the same time: candidate, operative, and organizer, and it's telling you the truth. Most of the trainings, like CBC, you had to be sent by a congressional person. Even though it was nonpartisan, I still felt like leaving that I was obligated to work for the Democrat Party. That's just the way I felt, because every Democrat congressional person in the CBC sent, who they thought should go. So every training I've been to has either been nonpartisan but really partisan, or it costs $2,000 or $3,000 or $4,000 to attend. And when it costs that much to attend, they want you to leave like on a high, to feel really, really good. Kind of like how some preachers make you feel really good, and then on Monday you like, well, what am I supposed to do what I just heard? Mm-hmm. So the goal of most of them are to make you feel good, but they don't challenge you. Mm-hmm. And so I try to make sure that I give you a little bit of both, a little bit of inspiration, but a little bit of challenging you as well, and telling you the truth. Like, for example, when they say, oh, yes, CBC will tell you, you're going to get a campaign manager, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. I'm going to tell you the truth. It's going to be you and your mama at best. So my training really gives you, I ran as a candidate. I got off immediately. I ran in 2011. I realized it was not for me because I did not want to go to jail. So I realized, yes, ma'am, that wasn't a call. That wasn't my ministry. So that training really will help you, and I hope, to see you online to be a part of it.
And I didn't state my name, but my name is Kiera Groover, and I own 3 businesses. And I always say this quote to my friends, that you can't be a leader and broke. So I believe that you need to be financially stable. But my question to you is, how important is it to be financially stable so you're not accepting money from corporations and then becoming their puppets once you become a politician?
Yeah, I don't know. See, for me, I'm a rider. I've been broke. So I Ubered. I don't believe, and I hear what you're saying, and that is a very good point for those who feel more secure with financial stability. But my life path has been different. My life path has taken everything from me, having to start all the way over. My challenges, my growth has been through being broke. Living next door to Officer Halscloth, that's the officer that raped 13 black women in Oklahoma City. I was doing that, making $50 a day as a substitute teacher. I was broke as hell. I could say hell because I know that's a word that's accepted. So I never had nothing, and I didn't take nothing from nobody. I was okay with Ubering. That's how the Lord worked with me. You ain't got to take, for me. Now everybody else, maybe they don't have the ambition of a rider, but I come from the Tupac generation. So to me, you can be a leader and broke, for me. In fact, the best leaders are broke. The ones that don't have nothing to lose. The ones that are willing to put it on the line. But I've never cared about money in that way. I'm okay with going to Ross dressed for less. I'm okay with Fashion Nova.
But what I'm really referring to is when you are a politician, you do have campaign money. So how do you rise above that?
Ma'am, I helped Regina Hill get elected in Orlando, Florida. I was her director of comm. It was 3 of us. We had $1,000 in the bank. She was arrested 21 times, was a cocaine felon. She won her very first time, beating a 16-year incumbent. So I got receipts that can show you it ain't all. That's what they tell you. I'm telling you different. Everybody else tell you that. I'm telling you based on receipts. Not only did Regina Hill win the first time, she won 2 times after that. And she ran against literally former Miss America. They ran 7 people against Regina Hill because they said she was not ideal. She came from Paramore. She didn't have a dollar to her name. She beat a 16-year incumbent attorney the first time through. It was 3 of us with nothing but maybe $2,000 at best. I ran her campaign, worked on her campaign from Oklahoma City when she was in Orlando, Florida. She beats them like a drum, all 7 of them, because she knocks on those doors. So I don't care what they tell you. That's what they tell you. The hood whisperer telling you something different. You can't beat that work. They can't beat my work. This is about working. People that got to lean on money and lean on all of that, my parents are in the grave. Nobody put me in this. Nobody in my family's in politics. Nobody in my family's in law. This didn't come from no mentorship, no mentor at school or none of that. This came from the muscle and the hustle, period. So that may work for some people, but I'm telling you my story based on receipts. When I ran my business in 2008, I had nothing. My baby's sitting back there 15 years old. This was 2008. I was going through a divorce. She was on my hip. I had $60 to my name. I went and worked and sold mobile phones at T-Mobile. I just got laid off from Robert Half and Adecco, the first and third largest staffing firm in the world. I was in Orlando with no family, no friends, no nothing. I believed that I could be better, that I could offer a better staffing service than my competitors. It didn't matter how big they were. I went out. I got volunteers to show up. I did it 40,000 hours. I challenged the NBA during the lockout. When they said, don't say nothing to the NBA, we still getting our money. I challenged it. I started a program called Assist the Bench. Then people had to respect me. I won Orlando, Florida Business Journal twice, not because of the money I had, not because of the payroll I had, but because of my hustle. They had to recognize me. And then I took that and I went and got the contract, a for-profit contract. So you have to get around here some different stories. You've been hearing stories from people that say, you got to have this and you got to have that. Not me. I'll go Uber first. Arrive in Tezlyn in 5 minutes. I'm not above. I done swept floors, clean toilets. I do it all because you ain't going to never own me.
I agree.
So when you walking in that kind of spirit, it's a different type of spirit.
And that's the one thing that I definitely want to avoid.
Yeah.
Thank you.
She want a whole dialogue. We'll come to my training, darling, and we'll get more into that. I think it's time for us to wrap up. Thank you. Thank you.
Stop laughing. Yeah. Ms. Figaro, I can't thank you enough for everything that you brought. I knew it was going to be good. I didn't know it was going to be this authentic and real, and you done turned around on the people. Okay, that's good. That's good. On behalf of our president, A. Zachary Faison Jr., the entire leadership body, and our entire Tiger family, please accept this just very small token of appreciation for everything that you've given to us here today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
If you want to... All right, again, thanks to all of you for being here. Was it good? Are your cups full? We got some perspective. She is right on time because we have some work to do. In about 4 weeks, we have an election coming up. We have some decisions to make, and I think that this program tonight with Tezlyn Figaro has helped us to do the work. So right now, we are going to do one thing. We're going to wrap up and conclude our broadcast that has been televised, streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. We wish all of you farewell and good night. Thank you so much for being here. But for those of you in the room, we would like for you to stay seated for a special recorded message from our president. Thank you.